William Shakespeare's sonnets are among the most celebrated and influential poems in the English language. Published as a collection of 154 sonnets in 1609, titled Shakespeare's Sonnets, they were likely composed over many years during his career. Structure and form. Shakespeare popularized what is now called the Shakespearean or English sonnet form. 14 lines total, written in iambic pentameter, da-dum rhythm, 5 feet per line. Rhyme scheme: A B C D E F G G, 3 quatrains followed by a rhyming couplet. The final couplet often delivers a twist, summary, or punchline that resolves or reframes the ideas in the preceding lines. This differs from the Italian/Petrarchan sonnet, ABBA plus sestet, which Shakespeare adapted and made distinctly his own. Main themes. The sonnets explore profound, timeless ideas, often with emotional intensity and philosophical depth. The passage of time and mortality, beauty fades, youth is fleeting, love in its many forms, idealized, obsessive, jealous, erotic, platonic, beauty and its transience, procreation. Early sonnets urge preserving beauty through children, infidelity, jealousy, and the complexities of desire, the power of poetry to immortalize the beloved. Unlike many Renaissance sonnet sequences that idealize a distant, virtuous lady, Shakespeare's are more raw and realistic, sometimes anguished, sometimes cynical. Overall structure of the sequence. The 154 sonnets are traditionally divided into sequences, though interpretations vary. Sonnets 1 to 126, addressed to a beautiful aristocratic young man, often called the fair youth. These begin with urging him to marry and have children, the procreation sonnets, 1 to 17, then shift to deep admiration, love, longing, occasional jealousy, and claims that poetry will preserve his beauty forever. Sonnets 127 to 152, addressed to a mysterious woman known as the Dark Lady, sensual, unfaithful, and morally complex. These are more overtly sexual and turbulent. Sonnets 153 to 154, 2 short concluding sonnets about Cupid and desire, often seen as a kind of coda. The identity of the fair youth, possibly Mr. W.H. from the dedication, and the Dark Lady remains one of literature's great mysteries. Candidates have included Henry Wriothesley, William Herbert, Emilia Lanier, and others, but no consensus exists. Most famous Shakespeare sonnets. Here are some of the most widely known and quoted ones. Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Perhaps the most iconic, argues that poetry will make the beloved's beauty eternal, unlike fleeting summer. Sonnet 116. Let me not to the marriage of true minds, defines true love as constant and unchanging, often read at weddings. Sonnet 130. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun, a witty anti-Petrarchan sonnet that rejects flowery comparisons, yet affirms real love. Sonnet 29. When, in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, expresses despair and isolation, then finds solace in thinking of the beloved. Sonnet 73. That time of year thou mayst in me behold uses autumn/winter imagery to reflect on aging and approaching death. Other frequently cited ones include Sonnet 55, Not marble, nor the gilded monuments, Sonnet 71, and Sonnet 138. The sonnets remain powerful because they feel deeply personal, blending admiration, desire, pain, and irony in ways that still resonate centuries later. If you're interested in a specific sonnet, a particular theme, modern interpretations, or want the full text of one or several, let me know. Sonnet 2, modern interpretation, original opening line, when 40 winters shall besiege thy brow. What it's about, in modern terms, Shakespeare is basically saying, one day you're going to be older. Your smooth, beautiful face will be lined with wrinkles. The glow of youth that makes you admired now will fade. Time will attack your beauty like an army laying siege to a city. Right now, people praise how good-looking you are. But when you're 40, which in Shakespeare's time meant seriously aging, that beauty won't impress anyone the same way. If someone asks you where all that beauty went, you won't have a good answer unless you've passed it on. The core idea. The poem argues that having a child is the only way to defeat time. If you don't have children, your beauty dies with you. If you do have a child, your beauty lives on in them. So instead of your aging being something embarrassing or tragic, you could point to your child and say, "There, my youth continues." In today's language, Shakespeare is telling the young man, "You're gorgeous right now, but one day you'll look in the mirror and see wrinkles instead of perfection. If you haven't created something that carries your beauty forward, all that admiration will have meant nothing." It's not just about looks, it's about legacy mortality. What survives after you? The poem treats beauty like a kind of investment. If you spend it only on yourself, it disappears. If you reinvest it through children, it multiplies. Emotional undercurrent. There's admiration, but also pressure. This isn't a gentle suggestion. It's persuasive, almost urgent. Shakespeare is confronting the young man with aging and death to push him toward procreation. The deeper fear beneath the poem isn't wrinkles, it's being forgotten. If you'd like, I can also rewrite the entire sonnet in fully modern verse, do a line-by-line breakdown, or compare it with Sonnet 18 to show how Shakespeare later changes his strategy from "have children" to "my poetry will preserve you." Sonnet 2, modern verse. Version. When 40 winters carve lines in your face and time digs trenches across your skin, when the bright pride of your youth hangs on you like a worn-out coat, people will ask, "Where did it go? Where is that beauty everyone praised?" And what will you say? That it vanished? That you let it fade? To hide behind hollow eyes and sunken cheeks would be a poor defense for something once so rich. But if you could point to a child and say, "There, my beauty lives again," then your aging would not be loss, but proof of renewal. Your blood would run warm in another body. Your spring would bloom again inside a new face.
In Sonnet 2 and Sonnet 18, Shakespeare confronts the same fundamental problem. Time destroys beauty. Both poems begin from the awareness that youth is temporary and that physical perfection inevitably fades. In Sonnet 2, time is imagined as a military force laying siege to a young man's face, carving wrinkles like trenches in war. In Sonnet 18, beauty is compared to summer, lovely but fleeting, subject to rough winds and seasonal decline. The anxiety is the same in both. How can something beautiful survive the assault of time? In Sonnet 2, the proposed solution is biological. Shakespeare urges the young man to have a child so that his beauty may live on in another body. Procreation becomes a defense against mortality. Youth can be renewed through bloodline. If the young man refuses, his beauty will die with him, wasted and forgotten. Immortality here depends on nature and reproduction. The poet acts as advisor, pressing the young man to act before it is too late. By Sonnet 18, however, Shakespeare's strategy changes dramatically. Instead of urging the young man to preserve himself through children, the poet claims that the poem itself will grant immortality. The beloved's beauty will not fade like summer because it is fixed in verse. As long as people read the poem, the young man will live within it. The power shifts from biology to art, from nature to language. In Sonnet 2, survival depends on the young man's choices. In Sonnet 18, it depends on the poet's craft. Poetry replaces procreation as the stronger, more lasting answer to time. Before you go, don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one.